Hello everyone, welcome to another test drill, particularly on the subject crop protection. And we have 5 questions for today. Let's start off with question number 1. Sabi dito sa question number 1, synchronous planting is an example of mechanical control, biological control, chemical control, or cultural control. So ang synchronous planting daw or yung pagtatanim ng sabay-sabay ay example ng anong kind of control method? The correct answer here is, it is cultural control. So what is synchronous planting? Ito ay isang technique kung saan yung mga halaman mo ay itinatanim ng sabay-sabay at hina-harvest ng sabay-sabay. Okay? And this is an example of cultural control. How does synchronous planting control insect pest population? So ito yung logic nun. Kung sabay-sabay kang magtatanim, and sabay-sabay na ma-harvest yung mga tanim mo, ibig sabihin yan, kapag na-harvest yung mga tanim mo, wala nang tanim doon sa iyong garden or doon sa iyong field. And what does that mean? Kung wala nang tanim doon sa field mo kapag sabay-sabay mo silang hinarvest, wala na ngayong halaman na kakainin yung ating insect population. So the idea of synchronous planting is dahil sabay-sabay na magtatanim, sabay-sabay rin yung pag-harvest, inaalis natin yung capacity ng mga insect pests to actually live within our field kasi wala na silang pagkain doon kapag hinarvest natin ng sabay-sabay. Now, what are other examples of cultural control? Pwedeng crop rotation. Okay? Crop rotation basically means magkakaibang family ng crops yung itatanim natin per cycle of production. Okay? Para yung peste ng, let's say, yung peste ng talong, hindi yun yung magiging peste ng carrots na susunod na itatanim natin. Other examples of cultural control would be intercropping, which is the opposite of your, not really the opposite, no? But intercropping basically means iba-ibang halaman yung itatanim natin. Magkakamix siya sa ating garden para it would at some point intercropping will act as a barrier for other pests doon sa ating main crop, and that is now another example of culturally controlling our insect pest population. Now, how about yung mga other choices na nasa question na ito? Like for example, yung mechanical control, ano yan? Mechanical control, this is involved in using physical methods, or more than likely, it involves using machinery or tools to directly remove or kill pests. So anong mga example dyan? Traps, okay? Yan. Usong-uso yan kapag organic farming, gumagamit tayo ng attractive thing na merong dikit kung saan na-attract din yung mga insekto and they are being trapped. You can also use barriers as a form of mechanical control. How about biological control? Ang biological control is yung paggamit ng natural enemies of pests like predators or parasite ng isang peste to keep pest population in check. So an example ng ating biological control would be ladybug that can be used to control aphid population on some plants. The other type would be your chemical control. And as the name suggests, chemical control now is the use of pesticides or herbicides to manage pest population in your farm. Next question. This is the main component of plant viruses. Okay, the main component of plant viruses are letter A, DNA, glycoproteins plus lipids. Letter B, simple proteins plus lipids. Letter C, DNA plus protein plus lipids. Or letter D, either DNA or RNA plus protein. So ano kaya ang component or main part ng isang virus? Ang tamang sagot dyan is letter D. A virus is made of either a DNA or RNA plus protein. So ano ba kasi ang basic structure ng virus? Dalawa lang yan. You have the genome and you have the capsid. What is the genome? Genome now is the area na nasa gitna ng virus, mostly nasa gitna ng virus, and it will now contain the genetic material of your virus. Now, viruses can either have a DNA or RNA, pero never both. So kapag DNA yung genome ng virus, DNA yan. Kapag RNA naman, RNA. Hindi pwedeng magkasama. Okay? Itong genome na to will now contain the genetic material of your virus and instruction na kinakailangan niya para i-reproduce yung kanyang sarili. Now, plant viruses, typically, although yung ibang plant viruses, DNA yung kanyang genome, pero typically, ang genome ng isang plant virus is an RNA. Okay? RNA yung kanyang genome. Ano naman yung capsid? Yung capsid, yan yung protein coat. Okay? Yan yung protein na tinatawag dyan. And ang purpose ng ating protein coat or yung ating capsid is to actually cover the genome, to protect the genetic material. So the genome, the RNA and DNA, is enclosed by a protective shell, by a protective protein that we call as capsid. Okay? Yun yung pinaka-purpose ng capsid. It is to protect the genetic material of your virus. So question, why are the other options incorrect? For example, DNA plus glycoprotein plus lipids. Now, this is incorrect because while some viruses, especially animal viruses, meron siyang lipids, ang plant viruses, wala. Okay? So, may mga animal viruses na may lipids, pero if we're mainly talking about plant viruses, wala yan. So, this lipid here makes the option wrong. Another one would be simple protein plus lipids. So, itong simple protein plus lipids, mali na nga na may lipids, meron pa siyang iniwan dito. Ano yung nawala dito? Wala siyang genome. So, itong option na to ay mali kasi walang genome, walang RNA and DNA. Dito naman, sa third option, same with the first one, lipids, supposedly wala yan sa plant viruses natin. And at the same time, yung DNA, it should be DNA and RNA. Okay? Kasi hindi naman DNA yung majority na genome ng ating viruses. It should be RNA. So that should be RNA plus DNA plus protein. Yan actually yung components, yung main component ng ating virus. Next one. The man-directed control of insect pests by employing the use of natural enemies. Ano kaya yon? So it is directed by man, ibig sabihin, man created this intervention and gumagamit daw siya ng natural enemies to control insect population. Ang tawag dyan ay biological control. So we have now discussed kanina yung mechanical control, which is the use of tools or machinery such as traps or barriers. Yung cultural control na pag-usapan na rin natin kung saan iniiba natin yung way of planting. So there will be variations in the way we plant to control insect pest population. And we have biological control, which is the use of natural enemies to manage insect pest population. And we also have this antibiosis na option na to. So pag-uusapan natin more in-depth siguro yung biological control. So what is biological control? It is the use of living organisms to manage, suppress, or eliminate a disease. So ano-ano yung mga natural organism na yan or yung mga natural enemies na yan? It can be in the form of predators, it can be in the form of parasite, or pathogen. Basta ang pinaka-goal ng biological control is to reduce the number of pests in an environment without using chemical pesticides, but with using biological means. So you use your predators, parasites, or pathogen para i-control yung population ng isang insect pest. Now, biological control, gumagamit ka ng natural enemies, so that's one element of which Another one is that biological control is directed by man. So hindi mo lang hinahayaan. Syempre, naturally, yung environment mo, may insect pests and may natural enemies talaga yan. Pero what you do as a farmer, what you do as a farmer is that intentionally, kukunin mo yung mga enemies of your insect pest and ilalagay mo siya sa field mo. So that is why it is considered as man-directed. Kasi intentionally, hindi mo lang hinahayaan yung uh, natural enemy ng insect pest mo na nandyan sa field. But rather, you are intentional in getting all of these natural enemies and putting it in your field to control the population of your insect pests. Ano naman yung fourth option kanina na antibiosis? Okay? Antibiosis is a form of biological interaction kung saan one organism will produce a substance that is harmful to another organism. So in the context of plant pathology, ang pinag-uusapan natin dyan is microorganism producing chemicals. At yung chemicals na to will now be harmful to your insect pest. So antibiosis ay para siyang natural resistance mechanism. Okay? And it is not the same with biological control kasi sa biological control gumagamit ka ng natural enemies pero sa antibiosis tinutulungan mo yung halaman na mag-produce ng toxic substance that will be toxic sa insect pest mo. So ano yung pinaka-classic example ng antibiosis? Yung pag-produce ng ating Bacillus thuringiensis sa mga yung pagde-develop ng mga plant varieties like corn na magkaroon ng Bacillus thuringiensis sa kanilang katawan, right? So yung Bacillus thuringiensis natin, our BT, kapag nilagay mo yan sa halaman, yung halaman mo nagpuproduce yan ng tinatawag nating cry-toxins. Okay? And this cry-toxin now is harmful to certain insect pests, specifically yung larva ng mga moths, beetles, and mosquitoes. Kaya yung ating BT corn, okay, resistant yan sa iba't ibang mga insect pests ng corn, particularly corn borers. Kasi kapag ang corn borer mo ay kumain ng BT corn, sila ay napopoison because the BT corn has a cry-toxin that is toxic to your borers. So that is how antibiosis works. Oh, how about this? What do you call the most destructive avian pest that attacks rice and other small grains? So ano kaya ang tawag dyan? Do we call that as Philippine weaver, Philippine eagle, Philippine oriole, or Philippine bird? Now, ako na tumitingin dito sa tanong na to, I can simply eliminate two options. Ano yung option na pwede kong i-eliminate? Ang tinatanong sa question na to is that this animal will attack rice and other small grains. So may pagka-herbivore yung hayop na to, no? Now, if I'm just looking at it, option B wouldn't be the right answer kasi a Philippine eagle will not eat rice or small grain. Ang Philippine eagle is carnivorous bird. So wala na yang Philippine eagle na yan. Another option na alisin ko is yung Philippine bird. Kasi Philippine bird is a vague option. It doesn't specify kung anong particular species yung pinag-uusapan natin. Now, not all birds in the Philippines are pests. In fact, may mga birds tayo dito sa Pilipinas that can be used as biological control. How can it be used as biological control? You can use them to eat insects na insect pest nung iyong field. So, Philippine eagle, hindi na yan yung tamang sagot kasi carnivorous siya. Philippine bird, hindi na rin yan yung tamang sagot kasi very vague yung term na yan. So, we are now left with Philippine weaver and Philippine oriole. So, ano kaya yung tamang sagot dyan? The most destructive avian pest that attacks rice and other small grains in the Philippines is called your Philippine weaver. Your Philippine weaver has the scientific name of Plosius philippinus, also known as your Maya, okay, or your Eurasian tree sparrow. Okay. Now, your Maya is considered as one of the most destructive avian bird pests in rice and other small grain crops. Itong mga birds na to, they are often feed on ripening grains, so yung pahinog pa lang ng mga grains natin, particularly in rice fields, causing significant crop losses for farmers. In terms of feeding habits, yung ating Philippine weaver feeds on rice grains at various stages, particularly as the rice matures and ripens. So since they attack grains directly, ang kanilang damage ay immediate or direct sa ating rice crop. These birds can also be seen as behaving as a flock. Ibig sabihin, they feed in large groups. Kaya din sila masakit, okay, sa ating mga rice farm kasi hindi lang isang weaver yung makikita mo na pumipeste sa yung rice farm. You can see multiple of them, groups of them, flocks of Philippine weavers, and dahil flocks sila, dahil grupo sila, mas intensified ngayon yung damage nila sa ating rice fields. Ano naman yung Philippine oriole? Na Philippine oriole, ang scientific name yan is Oriolus stiri. Okay? So this is again a bird rin in the Philippines. So it look like this. And this is a fruit-eating bird. So not a grain-eating bird, but it is a fruit-eating bird. So yun mostly ang kanyang diet, hindi rice. So ang kinakain niya is fruits. Sometimes kumakain din siya ng mga maliliit na insekto and even small invertebrates such as your earthworm. So this will be our last question. The presence of different nuclei in the same mycelium is termed as heterotrophism, hermaphrodite, heterokaryosis, or heterothalism. The presence of different nuclei in the same mycelium. So ang keyword dyan, different nuclei in the same mycelium. So mycelium. Saan mo kaya na-encounter yung word na mycelium na yan? Diba? So when we're talking about mycelium, more than likely we are talking about fungi. So yung presence na of different nuclei in the same mycelium is termed as, so alin kaya dyan ang related sa fungal reproduction? Ang tamang sagot ay heterokaryosis. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, what is heterokaryosis? So, ang heterokaryosis, yan ay makikita sa sexual reproduction ng ating fungi. So, heterokaryosis refers to this condition kung saan different nuclei can coexist within the same mycelium. So, how does this happen? Yung ating fungi, through sexual reproduction, magdidikit yung dalawang mycelium nila. Yung pagdidikit ng dalawang mycelium nila, ang tawag po dyan, plasmogamy. Okay? So, plasmogamy is when the cells of your two different mycelium fuses together to form dikaryotic cell. And during this time, okay, yung mycelium na nagdikit, merong stage doon we referred to as heterokaryotic stage. And in this stage, kung mapapansin natin, yung isang mycelial compartment, mayroon ka na ngayong dalawang different nucleus. Okay? So, dyan sa stage na yan, nangyayari yung ating heterokaryosis. Now, of course, this will be fused together. Itong dalawang nucleus na to will be fused together through a process called karyogamy. And yun na yung magiging zygote na magiging spore ng ating fungi na magre-reproduce ng kanilang sarili. But, prior to karyogamy, prior to fusion, meron kang stage, we call that as heterokaryotic stage, kung saan dalawang nucleus yung makikita natin per each mycelial compartment. Okay? For each mycelial compartment. Yan. So yung coexistence ng dalawang nuclei na to within the same mycelium We call that as heterokaryosis. So isipin nyo na lang, that's hetero, dapat yan. Hetero means different, okay? So different, karyosis is nucleus, if I'm not mistaken. So different nucleus, yun yung ibig sabihin ng heterokaryosis. How about the other options? Like for example, yung heterotropism. Now, heterotropism, this involves now your organisms, including your fungi, including your animals, that obtains their food by consuming other organic matter. Okay? So tayo, as a tao, we are heterotrophs. So we are undergoing heterotropism. So yung nutrients natin, yung kinakailangan natin, ay kinukuha natin yan by consuming other organic matters. Ano ang opposite ng heterotropism? Ang opposite ng heterotrophism ay autotropism. So autotropism, yan yung ating mga halaman wherein they can create their own food. They can create their own food without relying from external sources. Except, of course, for predatory plants like yung ating pitcher plant and yung ating Venus fly trap na halaman. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng heterotropism. How about hermaphrodite? Hermaphrodite is a term most commonly used in the context of animals and plants kung saan both of your organisms has a male and female reproductive organs. Okay? Lalong-lalo na sa halaman, kapag ang flower mo ay may both stamen and pistil, then your plant is hermaphrodite because it contains two reproductive organs, the male and the female part, in one organism. That's hermaphrodite. What is heterothalism? Heterothalism, from this option, is a sexual reproduction type ng fungi kung saan two different mycelia from different individuals are required for sexual reproduction. Ibig sabihin yan, yung ating fungi, it requires two different individuals with different mating types para makapag-reproduce sila sexually. So hindi siya the fungi cannot self-fertilize and kailangan niya makipag-exchange ng genetic material with another fungi that has a different genetic material. Kaya naman, ang heterothalic fungi, mayroon siyang diverse genetics or genetic diversity. Kasi nga dahil dalawang fungi na magkaiba, yung kanilang genes, yung mag-fuse for sexual reproduction, kaya magkakaroon din siya ng different mix-up, let's say, or diverse yung kanyang magiging genes. Opposite ng heterothalism is yung tinatawag nating homothalism. Sa homothalism naman, this is still a type of sexual reproduction, pero sa homothalism, one single individual can reproduce sexually, hindi niya kailangan ng partner. So, ibig sabihin yan, yung kanyang genes, it is more stable kasi this fungi are reproducing sexually by itself. Hindi niya kailangan ng partner, and because of that, it will not mix with any genes of other individuals. Yan. So, yan yung two types of sexual reproduction in fungi. Heterothalism, kailangan mo ng dalawang partner na magkaiba yung genetics para magkaroon ng heterothalism. Whereas homothalism is a sexual reproduction naman wherein the fungi is self-fertilizing. So, hindi niya kailangan ng other partner, mas stable yung kanyang genetic material.